guys, and welcome to yet another tier list video. I'm your host, BC King, and today we are going to rank every single track from Mario Kart Double Dash, one of my favorite Mario Kart games of all time. Let's not waste any time. I love this game so much. I love the tracks. Let's get right into this tier list. So first up, we have the starting course being Luigi Circuit. This one's kind of alright. I do like how the racers can kind of hit each other at a certain point because the roads kind of, I guess, intertwine. But it's a pretty basic track, so it's kind of the baseline for all the tracks here. So I put it at like a solid C+. It's got good music, a pretty good upbeat circuit tune to it. And again, I do like how on the road you can like hit the people who are going the other way and then kind of screw them over, so that's kind of cool. The speed boosts are cool. But yeah, it's a very basic circuit track. It's not like Figure 8 Circuit from DS. That's like the worst one by far. But this one is just alright to me. It's a pretty basic-y, solid circuit track, and I like it, but don't really love it that much. So this circuit track gets a solid C, maybe a C+ tier for me. Alright, next we have Peach Beach. I think this one's just a tad bit underrated, but I wouldn't say it's a great track. I do like the cataquacks that can like launch your cart so far in the air, and they can really be kind of a nuisance. But they're kind of cute, I'll give them that. Good music. There is that part where you go over the ramp, over the water. That's okay, I guess. I think there are better beach-themed tracks than this one, but as far as Peach Beach, it's a pretty good track overall, so I'd probably give it a B, maybe a B+. I think I do gotta dock points for the cataquacks, because, again, they are cute, but they are kind of a nuisance for, like, you know, trying to stay in first. They are easy to avoid, thankfully, so I can't knock them that much. But yeah, it's a pretty solid beach track. Again, there are better ones, which we'll get into in other future Mario Kart track ranking tier lists. But yeah, for what it is, I like it. So Peach Beach, good music, good track design. Cataquacks can be kind of a nuisance, but they're all right, I guess. So solid B for me. I feel like Baby Park is a weird one because it's kind of a divisive track for a lot of people. A lot of people love it for certain reasons, and some think it's boring because it's just a freaking loop. I am someone who loves this track, and here's why. Yes, it's a loop, and I get why people would hate it because of that, but the items in this game really make this track stand out, and here's why. Because it's a loop, you've got items going all over the place. You've got freaking Bowser shells going, like, all over the track. You've got big bananas being thrown all over the place. You've got freaking bombs, you've got everything. It's just, that is the chaos that makes Baby Park such a good track. And again, it's just a loop. Like, it's not really a great design at all. It's just a freaking circle. But those items in the game really make this track stand out. And I think the DS one was kind of a letdown for reasons. And 8's is pretty good too. But I don't think any Baby Park variant can quite top the original, just for the items that are in Double Dash. So you know what? I love it. I won't give it an S for reasons, because I do think the track design could be a bit better, obviously, but it's gotta be an A track. Like, every time I race in this track, it's chaos, because, again, just the items all over the place, constant chaos, constant fun, so if you hate it, I get it, I understand, but I do not, and I love it. So Baby Park gets a solid A from BC King. This one I'm kind of conflicted on. Dry Desert. The remake is good. The original, I don't think I've ever really warmed up to it, honestly. The tornadoes are kind of like the cataquacks in Peach Beach, where they can be a nuisance if you get hit by them. The Pokies, not so much. But yeah, I just think there's a lot better desert tracks out there, but I do kind of like it a bit, so I might give it a low B, maybe a B-. I think Peach Beach, for me, even though I think Dry Desert is maybe the better track, I think I prefer racing on Peach Beach over Desert, just because, like, I like Beach theme more, obviously, but honestly, these could be interchanged based on your preference, but I do prefer Peach Beach over Dry Desert, but it's still a good desert track overall. I do like it, but there are better ones out there, honestly, so yeah, good track, kind of a nuisance with some of the things you find on the track, and not the best desert track overall, but still a good one. So we'll give Jar Jar Desert a solid B, maybe B-. Oh man, good old Mushroom Bridge. I feel like this one might be mostly A or B for a lot of people, and I'm kind of torn on this one. I think my heart's telling me A, but my brain's telling me maybe high B. But I do love this track. I like the vehicles, I love the music. There's a better track that has Mushroom on it that we'll get to in a bit. But Mushroom Bridge, I think, is a pretty good track. Good design, good twists and turns, a good shortcut. The vehicles can be, they're not that hard to avoid, I would say. I think in other versions they would be. Or like, you know, I think the remakes actually are, I don't know, but anyway, the vehicles are not hard to avoid. So yeah, honestly, not the best, like, it's not like a mind-blowing track design, but, I do love it, so I'm gonna say maybe high B+. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna say low A-. Again, it's far from S tier, but I do think it is a lot better than Peach Beach and Jar Jar Desert. It's gotta be with Baby Park, I'm sorry. But yeah, there is a better mushroom track that we'll get to in just a bit. You guys can probably tell what it is, spoiler alert. But yeah, Mushroom Bridge, like the vehicles, good track design, good music again. So solid A, mostly A- for Mushroom Bridge. So there's a lot of Mario Circuit tracks in Mario Kart, like a lot of them. And I think this one from Double Dash is on the lower tier for me. It's not a bad track, but it doesn't really stand out that much, if I'm being real. I think other Mario Circuits have kinda, they've had more unique elements to them, like the DS one, and I think kinda the Wii one, to an extent. 8's is obviously good as well. This one, though, I don't know if I vibe with it that much. Again, not a bad track, but if we're ranking this based on other Mario Circuit tracks, this does fall in the lower tier of those tracks. So I think it's above Luigi Circuit, but probably still in C tier. There's just not much to it compared to other circuit tracks out there, especially Mario Circuit tracks like I just mentioned. But it's still a solid circuit track. Again, like seeing Peach's Castle in the background, as always, with like every Mario Circuit track out there. Always good seeing that. But yeah, not a bad track, but could be better. So C, maybe C+ for Double Dash's Mario Circuit. I have never been on a cruise ship in my entire life, and this track is about as close as I will ever freaking get. I love Daisy Cruiser. This right here, ladies and gents, is the first S tier on this tier list. I have always loved this track. It's got amazing music, amazing track design. It's a freaking cruise ship. How can you not love it? Like, you can't go under the water in this version. You can in the Mario Kart 8 version, but not in this one. But still, it's such a fun track to race on. I never get bored racing on it. Like, you can't take a cruise ship and make it a bad track. You just can't. Like, this track is amazing. Good turns. I think it has a shortcut. I'm not sure. Again, 8's version lets you go under the water, which opens up more paths, but you can't in this version, obviously. But yeah, just the uniqueness of it being a cruise ship and the solid music, or sorry, the great music, I should say. And just, it's a fun track to race on. Like, you can't ever get bored racing this, I feel like. So, yeah, gotta be an S. I love Daisy Cruiser, always have, and always will. Let's just hope in the future I can go on an actual cruise ship. That'd be great, but until then, I will take what I can get, which is going on a cruise ship in Mario Kart Double Dash. This next track, I am so torn between A or S. It's like on the verge of that. I love Waluigi Stadium, but I don't know if it quite reaches S. Because I know my S tiers already, I got them in my head already, but I don't know if this track would be in that same tier. But for what it is, I love this track. It's got some great jumps, great tricking, great ramps, great music, and again, like Daisy Cruiser, it's a fun, unique track to race on, but I think it just misses S tier for me, but I do think it is for sure, at least, a very high A+. I still love this track. It is such a good track. Yeah, great turns. Love the dirt. Or yeah, that's the weird thing to say. Love the dirt. Who loves the dirt on a Mario Kart track? Nobody. Apparently I do, obviously. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. But yeah, just a fun track. Nothing else to say. So A+, and we are moving on. Sherbet Land's a weird one because I think at first I did not like this track at all when I was a kid, and then over time I kind of grew to like it a bit more. I wouldn't say it's A tier for me, because there are better snow-themed tracks out there, especially in Mario Kart 8. But this one is probably going to get a solid B+ for me. It's a really good snow track overall. Obviously you can't drive in the water like you can in Mario Kart 8, but I do think the track is still good even despite that. It's got a great song. I mean, you know, most tracks have shared music, right? This one doesn't, and it's pretty good. Love the skating Shy Guys, a cool little detail there. Good turns. I will say the one thing that probably knocks Sherbet Land down for me is the freezies, because I feel like in 8's version you can avoid them pretty easily. I think you can't avoid them as easily in this version, maybe because of the controls, and it might be a bit more slippery than Mario Kart 8's remake. But they're not really a huge nuisance, but it is annoying if you do get hit by them because they freeze your kart for like what, 3-4 seconds, and you can't move or drive at all, and that can screw up your performance in that race. But other than that, I still like this track a lot. Again, a very good snow-themed track, good elements to it, and solid B+. So during Mushroom Bridge, I mentioned that there was a track in here with the word mushroom in it that is a lot better than Mushroom Bridge and is a really good track. And that track is none other than Mushroom City. I have wanted this track to return in Mario Kart since I first played it back in Double Dash. It has not returned in any way, shape, or form. Not even Mario Kart Tour brought this back, and Mario Kart Tour brought back a lot of tracks. Mushroom City deserves to be brought back, and I will not rest until it gets brought back. I freaking love this track. One of my favorite tracks in all of Double Dash and in all of Mario Kart. Easy S+. Like, I love the atmosphere of this track. Just driving through the downtown city. You got all those twists and turns with the vehicles and just the great music once again. Like, I need this track to come back. Please, Nintendo, please bring back Mushroom City. Like, I know there's a lot of city tracks out there. I understand. This one is great. I promise you. It's an easy S tier for me. I freaking love this track. You will not regret bringing it back. So, please, Mario Kart 10, Mario Kart Ultimate, whatever you're going to be in the future, please bring back Mushroom City, and I will be a happy man. Please. But, yeah, this track, easy S+ for me. And we have another circuit track, this one being Yoshi Circuit. This one is for sure better than Luigi and Mario Circuit, because the entire track, if you can't tell, is shaped like Yoshi. You drive around the entire, like, you know, model of Yoshi. Like, the head is a tunnel, and then the hands, I think, are also a tunnel, I believe, and the foot's like a mountain or something. This one's really unique, but I don't think I would rank it. It's close. It's like on the verge of A or B. It's definitely not S. Honestly, I do love the turns. I mean, it's a pretty good technical track, I would say. Yeah, you know what? I might go low A on this one. Might be too high for some people, but I think if we're talking circuit tracks that actually have some depth to them and don't feel like too basic-y or too like bland, this one really does not meet those things. Like, it's a unique track, it's shaped like Yoshi, and the turns are great, and it's a good track to just drift around and drive on, so yeah, I mean, some might say B, and I respect that, but for me, I think it's a low A. Like, it's a pretty great circuit track overall. It's got a character to it, and I love it, so yeah, solid A- for Yoshi Circuit. Ladies and gents, I present to you another S-tier track, the one and only DK Mountain. Man, this track deserves so much love. I think it already gets a lot of love, but even more love. I would say it probably doesn't. It's so close. I think it's like right between Daisy Cruiser and Mushroom City. It's like right there, but yeah, it's still an S tier. Like, I love this track. I love driving down the mountain, blasting out the DK barrel, driving down the volcano, across the bridge. like, avoiding the boulders with those really, really sharp turns. Like, every part of this track really does just, it's great. It's great stuff. I think the Mario Kart 8 version is still great, but not quite to the level of the original. The Wii one's good too, but this one is just, you can't top the original. Like, there's a certain, the controls, I think, are what puts the original above it, because, like, DD's controls are really something, but, yeah, love this track. Great track. So good. So, gotta be S tier for me. Speaking of another track that Nintendo needs to bring back for a Mario Kart game, Wario Colosseum. Still to this day, the only Mario Kart track in existence that has 2 laps. Not 1, not 3, not 5, 2. It is such a unique track, and for some reason it still has not returned in a Mario Kart game. Why? It is such a great track. It's a pretty long track, to be fair. I mean, I think some people might be turned off by the longer tracks, but this one is just, it's really good. Gotta be another S tier for me. I would put it just slightly below Daisy Cruiser, but it's still an S tier. Like, it's still a great track. Great music, great track design. I love this track design. Some might not like it, I've always loved it. Like, again, it's a pretty long track, I admit. It's not quite, 64 Rainbow Road length, but, it can still be pretty long for some people, so I understand that. But I love this track. Please bring it back, Nintendo. It's such a good track. And yeah, keep the 2 laps, because that's unique. But yeah, Wario Colosseum, lovely track, love it so much. Gotta be an S tier on this list. I think a lot of people think that Dino Jungle is, like, maybe an S or A tier. I would say A tier, but definitely not S tier. I think I don't love it quite as much as other people do, but I still love it a lot. I mean, it's a jungle with dinosaurs and a little cave and bridges, and it's cool. So, I mean, what more is there to say? I love dinosaurs, so that gets some bonus points for me. I would say, you know what? I'd put it right here, maybe just below Baby Park. Which, again, that might piss off some people. Like, I admit that Jungle is a better track than Baby Park, but again, we're combining every element. Like, you really can't beat Baby Park's chaos of, like, all the items being thrown around in that giant loop, so it's got a character to it, I gotta say. But Jungle, I still love a lot. It's definitely an A-tier track. I don't know if is it my favorite Jungle track? I wouldn't think so. I would say DK Mountain's also a jungle track, kinda, and that one's, like, a lot better than Dino Jungle. But, yeah, I mean, you can't not love dinosaurs and jungles and bridges and volcanoes and caves and whatnot, so there you go. So yeah, DD Jungle, solid A tier for me. On the pantheon of Bowser Castle tracks in Mario Kart, I feel like this one is definitely one of the more underrated ones, or underappreciated ones. It definitely is not of the tier of Wii Bowser Castle, or 8 Bowser Castle, or even the SNES one that got remade in the Booster Course Pass. But this one, I still think deserves a bit of love. I think it maybe just misses A tier, but I'd give it a solid B+. I do like the Bowser statue that shoots the fireballs at you, though it's not really hard to avoid. The Wii one is my favorite, with, like, shooting the fireballs at fast speeds, and then you gotta, like, hit the half pipes to keep going. That's a good one. This one's not quite to that level, but it's still good. A pretty solid song as well, I would say. It's not one of my favorite Bowser Castle songs ever, but it's still pretty good, I would say. It's got a good atmosphere, a good design for the castle, I would say, overall. But yeah, I don't think it quite reaches the level of awesomeness that other Bowser Castle tracks have done in other Mario Kart games, but it is still really good. So it may not be an S or A Bowser Castle, but it's for sure a B+ Bowser Castle. I still like it a lot, but other ones are better, as I just said. So we'll give DD's Bowser Castle a very, very solid B+. And finally, we have Double Dash's Rainbow Road. Now, I think a lot of people consider their favorite to be either Wii Rainbow Road, 64 Rainbow Road, Wii Rainbow Road. What else? 7's Rainbow Road. This one is definitely not to that level, but I still love this track a lot. It is one of my personal favorite Rainbow Roads, but I don't think it's S tier. I think some of you might put it in S tier, which is fair. I understand that, but I don't... Like, I'd put 7's, Wii's, and maybe 64's, at least the remake. Or, no. I would put 7's and Wii's in S tier. This one is probably an A tier, though. It's got great design. I love the rainbow effect on all the items in the background, like the giant pipe and the star, and it's got one of my favorite Rainbow Road songs ever. I love this Rainbow Road's music. I also love that giant turn at the end where you're going down the little spiral to get to the finish line. That's a cool one. And then you shoot up the pipe at that one point to go up. That's a good element as well. So yeah, not one of my favorite, it's not like top tier Rainbow Road, but it is one of my personal favorite ones that I enjoy, and I do think it is still a solid A tier. As far as where, I would say definitely above, you know what? I think I'll put it here. That's a good spot for it. Between Baby Park and Dino Jungle, but, yeah, not top tier Rainbow Road, but it's still an A tier for me. This is one of my favorite Rainbow Roads of all time. I still love it, but it's not quite S tier, I agree. So yeah, there we go. Well guys, we have no D's and no F's, which tells you all you need to know about how good the tracks are in Mario Kart Double Dash. They're all pretty good overall. We got some pretty banner ones like Mushroom City, DK Mountain, Baby Park, Waluigi Stadium. So overall, a pretty good list. And I don't think these all deserve any D's or F's because it's a pretty solid list of tracks. But thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you would change, like which ones would you swap out, what would your list look like, and I'll see if I you know, have similar opinions or other opinions than what you guys have. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next tier list video, and until then, take care.